Hey, what's up, guys? Today I want to talk about really, I'm just gonna let it come out naturally today, okay? I had stuff planned out, like what it feels like to be awakened or how to build rapport with yourself. But then I'm just go ahead and freestyle it today. Just kind of go with the flow, I guess, and see what happens, okay? It's because there's so much stuff I want to share with y'all. There's so many things I want to express, so many things I just want to get out there because in this walk, when you express yourself, it's it's everything. It's God doing His thing, you know. The universe guiding you. And it's just taking that step of faith all the time. It's just, man, you're creating as you're going every single step, every single moment you're creating, right? And I was sitting there and thought, I'm calm right now. I'm very calm. Woke up today feeling good, right? I woke up today and just like, man, what? Shit. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm there. I'm right where I need to be. I'm right in the moment. I woke up in the morning. This morning is like, I'm already right where I need to be. You know what I mean? Like, I did my routine, did my, you know what I'm saying, my morning routine and stuff like that, my meditation workout, you know what I mean, my little chi exercise and whatnot. You know, so I kind of took my time today kind of coming to this video because I was trying to see what was coming through, but I'm talking about from the jump, man, things were just flying, just coming in. And people call me downloads, some people call it clairvoyance or whatnot, but intuition, all this stuff, spirit, you know what I mean? Man, it's just, when you're there in the moment with yourself, it's you don't want to get out of it. It's uh, so addicting in a way. You know what I mean? Like it's man, it's bliss. It's nirvana. It's heaven. It's you name it. You know what I mean? You just there's no other place you want to be, right? But then you want to kind of like share it with everybody. You want to express it. And it's just like how do you put it in words? You know what I mean? How do you put it in your art, or how do you express it through music or whatnot? And it's I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's like you're taking a spiritual dose of spiritual heroin or something. You know what I mean? Like it's warming and consuming, and it's like it just you know what I mean? Like it radiates. And I hate to use that terminology. You know what I mean? Like a drug addict, but it keeps you coming back. You know what I mean? Like you want to stay in that presence. You know what I mean? It's a certain high. You know what I'm saying? But you uh, you gotta be humble, right? It's good to enjoy the moment. It's good to be there and always be there in the moment, letting spirit flow through you. But at the same time, you gotta understand is that eventually you gotta come back to reality. You gotta come back to pursuing your responsibilities, your priorities and stuff, right? So how do you do that? You gotta remain humble. You know, you gotta understand is that to be humble is like if if I'm too in my mind, like if I'm too elevated in consciousness, right? I gotta remember that when I start dealing with the public or dealing with my family or friends or whatnot, right? Like, uh, I don't want to seem holier than thou. You know what I mean? I don't want to seem like I'm better than everybody or man, you don't get it because you ain't gonna wait. You know what I mean? Or like, man, you dumb. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be put that perspective onto people. You know what I mean? Like about me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to feel that way. So you gotta remain humble. The same thing too is like I don't want to be put on a lower vibration and stay in that lower vibration because then it's like I'm stuck in that, right? And I don't want to be there. So you always got to go back, become humbled so you can stay in the heart space. But what creates that humbleness? It's humility. You know what I'm saying? Like humility is another key aspect, right? You got to understand what humility is. Like, it's like, damn, I fucked up, man. Like, shit, I can't get, I can't get over it, man. But it's embarrassing. Like, man, I can't. I humiliated myself, my family, what they gonna think of me, what my kids gonna think of me, what society gonna think of me, right? It's like all these are going through your head and shit, right? But you gotta accept that humility, right? Like humility is gonna build characters. It's gonna create that humbleness. You can start seeing things like, man, shit. Like, one, I don't care what people think about me, but at the same time, it's like, man, I can't believe I did that. Like, but it's okay. I had to, like, I accept it for what it is, and now I can move on. I'm good with it now, right? But you learned, right? You learn. Man, life's beautiful, man. It's very beautiful. It's very, I don't know, man. It's one of them things like just, man, shit. I wish I could share this experience with y'all, right? You know, it's just, every breath you take, it's just a blessing. It's like, man, you know. It took me a long time to get here, though, right? And I'm grateful for my dark night of the soul, right? My journey through that, right? And to me, like the dark night of the soul is like, it's like the orientation process of your spiritual walk, right? Some people's dark night of the soul is like longer than others. Some could be a year, some could be 6 months, some could be 5 years, 10 years, whatnot, right? It just depends on the person. Me, mine took a while. Mine took a long time, right? It took some years. When I say years, I mean years. Like, it took a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before in the previous video, like, I've been doing this walk for a long time. It's just, I finally committed to it, right? I finally committed to it. And I knew something was always there. Something was always calling me. It's just, I was more influenced by the women and the parties and, of course, the money and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? And I had my agenda twisted, my priorities twisted, right? But when I started finally going through the dark night of the soul, you know what I'm saying? And it's like everything was just falling apart. And I always been one of those persons to where it's like I could create out of nothing, right? I could just do it, you know what I mean? And that sounds kind of like conceited, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm not trying to be that way. It's just I got to share the experience, right? So it was like I know I could do it. You know what I mean? I always believed in myself. I always knew that no matter what situation I was in, like I could always get back on my feet and move forward, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's part of my Leo character, right? I'm a Leo, right? I'm a Leo sun. I'm a Capricorn moon, and I'm a Scorpio rising, right? So it's like I know what kind of characters I have, right? And so I know what it takes. I know what it takes, right? Well, anyway, like I was saying, during this dark night of the soul experience, man, it was one of them things. Like, even though I was losing everything, right? Even though I was losing relationships with people, and I was constantly fighting, constantly in and out of jail, constantly just damn everything's like my addictions, and you know what I mean. I was gaining a lot of weight, and like I was depressed. You know what I mean. I was even having some fucking like suicidal thoughts and shit like that. Like, not that I was gonna do it, but they were just playing with my head and shit, right? And I couldn't keep it. I wasn't even drawing. Like, I couldn't draw, right? I think it went like 10 years, like close to 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Because I had fucked up an art scholarship, and that's pretty much started, right? But and like, but anyway, like I'm getting off topic. But anyway, it was like hard. It was hard, right? But I was still able to manifest things, right? I was still able to like make shit happen. You know what I mean? Out of nothing, get it out the mud, if that's what you want to say, right? But I couldn't keep it going, right? I couldn't keep it going because I had the wrong motivation towards things, right? I had the wrong things motivating me to do it. I was putting my faith in things that I shouldn't have put it into, like people, places, and things, right? I was putting in the wrong things instead of putting it into myself, put it into my faith in God or the universe, whatever, right? I was putting into the people that weren't loyal to me. I was putting into to things that were no good for me, that were toxic for me, right? I was putting into things that just weren't benefiting at all. That were costing me more, right? More energy, more money, more time, right? Like it wasn't worth it. You know what I mean? And it took me a long time to realize that, right? Because like I said, this dark night of the soul is like the orientation of the spiritual walk. It's going to determine where you're going to go with this, right? Like what you're calling or what you want to do or how do you see yourself, what you want for the future, what you want now, what are your priorities? You know what I mean? Like what you believe in. Like it sets all these tones, right? So it's kind of creating that character of the observer. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of creating that role, right? And which is kind of crazy when I say that though, because like the observer, man, he or she, depending on, you know what I'm saying, that's a seat you get in to choose your possible probabilities, right? Your characters that you're gonna play for that role, right? So like whenever this observer starts creating its form, when it gets its momentum to like, okay, you're kind of like you're creating me, okay, and the way he is formed, right, is like he's formed out the dark night of the soul. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the other part of you. Like you created a role. Like we're gonna call it the ego, okay? Because that's pretty much really what it is. Like the ego, like he created a role where it's like, man, I'm tired of shit, right? I destroyed everything in my life. But something's deep and down is telling you that, right? It's like, man, like wake up, wake up. You know what I mean? Like what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Like you can do better, right? And so that observer is kind of like watching this as you're allowing your ego to destroy every single thing you love. You know what I'm saying? Because it's power hungry. It's just it has its animal instincts. It's just thriving off of that shit, right? Yeah. So it's like, what next? You know what I'm saying? Well, you gotta let the process take place though, man, because that ego created so much momentum that it's not gonna stop until you knock it on its ass. You know what I'm saying? And how do you do that, man? You allow the humiliation to take place, right? Because what does the ego drive off of, right? It's it wants its power, right? So what's power bring? Pride, right? Pride falls before the fall, right? So it's like you gotta let it get humiliated. You know, you gotta allow it to take its course naturally. You know what I'm saying? Because the more you try to fight it, the more you're gonna lose to it, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like some going through like drug addiction and shit, right? They're like part of recovery is relapse. You know, I've been through that too, right? So it's like one of them things like you gotta accept it for what it is, and every time you get knocked down, get back up, right? Get back up. But what it is like your true self is like, okay, we need to create something else that's gonna battle this full out. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much that becomes kind of like the observer, right? That's kind of like his role. He's like, okay, we see what he created. Now let's create another version of yourself, okay? One that has the same characteristics, right? Because his belief system is built off of this, right? So we know that, okay? So we can make something kind of equal to him, but better, right? But better. So we need something a little more, with a little more mindset, a little more strong will. You know what I mean? So you start creating these characters, right? You're building rapport with your true self. You're building rapport because the observer started asking questions. It's like before I went to prison, right? I used to do like a remodeling. I had my own little construction business going, right? And I started from nothing. I mean, I'm talking about I started from nothing. And I went from a paint bucket and a paintbrush, right? Doing my mom's trim at her house to landing a job, which was her next door neighbor, right? And she asked me how much I'll charge, and I didn't know shit. So I was like, man, shit, $75, I'll pick the trim, you know what I'm saying? So she ended up busting my game later on, right? So anyway, one job led to another, led to the next because of word of mouth, right? Within like a year and a half time, I ended up landing a $125,000 contract, right? But doesn't mean that I made that money. I wasn't even ready for that level, right? Because I had my faith in the wrong things. Like I said, the people, places, things that weren't for me at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like that weren't just I don't want to say on a level because it makes me feel like I'm putting myself on a pedestal, but they weren't in the same frequency as I was as far as pursuing the dream. You know what I'm saying? But long story short, I didn't get to make none of that money. I didn't get to see none of it. You know what I'm saying? Because incarceration, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like just the way things happen. But the good thing about it though is I know how to get back there, right? So I'm fresh out of prison. Like I'm going on a month now. So it's like I know how to get back to that spot if I wanted to, right? Okay, I gotta get me a truck again. I gotta get my tools again. I know what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? I know how to get out the mud if I wanted to, right? See, but that's the observer evaluating everything, right? He's building rapport with my true self, right? I'm allowing him to ask the questions like, what do I really want? What am I really pursuing? Does this really benefit my life? Is this good for me and my family? Is this good for, the God's will? Is this what it is? You know what I'm saying? Is this gonna bring me the life that I want, right? And so I started evaluating all these situations, like just it's because what that job taught me though was the money that I was making, right, wasn't really the job that I was doing. It was in the sales part, right? When I go up to a customer, it's like I had to look the part, speak the language, speak the terminology, right? Ask the questions, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you know what I mean? Like break it down. Who to talk to, who controls the pocket, like the money, you know what I mean? Who had the money, so my morality, what did I bring to the table? So I had to start looking at things from a sales perspective. I had to learn how to create that role, right? I walk in with my work pants on, my work boots, you know what I'm saying? I have a pad in my hand, you know what I'm saying? A pen, right? I have a nice shirt on. I smoke good, I look good, you know what I'm saying? I roll up in my truck, and it's just one of them things. They didn't know that my truck was breaking down. They didn't know that shit, right? They didn't know my tank was on E. They didn't know that shit, right? They didn't know I'm from the hood or I'm a felon or none of that shit, right? So it's like, but what they saw though was what I presented to them, right? Because I had the terminology, I had the mindset, I had the heart, I had the drive to do it. It's just racking that money up, boom, 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 right? So it's just one of them concepts, like, man, okay. I learned from that experience, right? The only way failure is really a failure, man, is if you don't learn from it. If it keeps you down, then there's something that you're missing, right? You're still in that failure in a way. So it's like, be accountable for it, accept it for what it is, right? Accountability goes a long way, like I was saying the other day, and just be grateful that you went through it and keep moving forward, keep pushing forward, or keep striving. Don't stop. Just approach it in a different way now, a different angle, okay? You approach it this way, so now you're going after your dreams, approach it this way then, okay? Go to the left side this time and see what happens, okay? If you get the same outcome, all right, cool. Do it again, get back up, right? Eventually you'll get into alignment to where you need to get to what you'll get to where you need to go, okay? Just like me right now, I'm taking a leap of faith. These videos are actually helping me get there because I have to express myself so I could have the thought process that I need, right? Get out the penitentiary mindset, right? So I don't become institutionalized and go back, right? It's therapeutic. It helps me out. Drawing, working out, meditation, all that stuff, it helps me out. So I'm adding on to this. This is something new to me, right? I'm walking by faith with these videos. I don't know what they're going to bring, but I'm just being obedient to it, right? So the observer, he's building rapport with you, with your true self, right? Because he wants to create too, right? He wants to create too, because we're part of that, right? So your true self is like teaching him how to create, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay. So now you start building up all these characteristics of all these traits and stuff. You're starting to see from the old self, like the good qualities you had and the bad qualities, what needs working, what needs a little bit tweaking here, tweaking there and shit, right? So you start understanding that. And then when a moment comes, when the opportunity knocks at the door, you're able to run with it. You're able to kind of like, okay, I got this, right? You're able to face that fear factor because success brings its own fears too. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I don't know if I'm ready. It's like me when me starting this YouTube channel, I was like, man, I don't know if I could do that shit. Like, come on, man, make videos and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, I thought I was too tough for it for a moment. But then again, I just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And I did it. I'm continuing to do it because it's helping me out, right? And that's what matters, that it's helping me out. Because if it's helping me, I know it can help you. right? But the dark night of the soul, man, it's be grateful when you go through that. Be grateful when you go through that. You'll get through it. You'll feel like it's never going to end, but it comes to that point. And the point that it comes to is like you got to scare yourself awake. You know, when I learned how to start like doing like the alchemy part of this walk, right? When I started seeing putting myself through the burner and purifying myself and everything, it kind of became like habitual. It kind of became like a habit. I made it a point to just keep throwing myself in the fire, just boom, 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 and bring myself out, right? At first, it started with the mind games. This was before I was able to break certain levels in meditation, right? So the only way I knew how to do it was kind of through working out, right? So I did that. I get myself so angry, so mad, to the point to where like I wanted to cry. You know what I mean? Like, just take it out on the workout. Just work it out. Just boom. But then I started getting hurt. Like started hurting my shoulders, spraining my muscles, and all kinds of shit. Right? So I'm like, man, I need to do something else. So I started getting more serious with meditation. I mean, I always knew how to meditate to a certain extent. But when I started breaking the part that would make me sleepy, like, I'll meditate for like 10 minutes and pass out. But when I started breaking that shit, like, started seeing how tranquility work and how like stillness work and how mindfulness is and the consciousness is and the cosmos and like exploring things in depth. You know what I mean? I started seeing that I was actually multidimensional. Man, it's just like I just took off with it, like absorbed it like a sponge. But then I started seeing the two exercises were going together. Like it was helping me out, right? So then I was like, okay, I need something else with this though. I was always trying to put more to it, right? More to it. Because I started seeing though, if I want to chase $1 million, how can I generate that in my life, right? So I was like, well, how did I generate that $125,000 contract? But I didn't see the money. But how did I get that? How did I land that, right? So I started thinking, it's like, man, I thought big, I acted big, I presented like I was big, and I landed it. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't understand the whole process of it. So then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put faith behind it this time. You know, like I'm on, like really just every step of faith, like just all in. So then I started seeing, it's like, man, you know what? Like, what am I worth? Like, man, I'm worth more than $1 million. You know what I mean? I'm priceless, right? So it's like, so it's like, how do I generate that abundance then? You know what I'm saying? I could feel it, right? I could feel it. Like, it's vibrating so hard within my heart space. Like, I could feel it, right? You know what I mean? It's just waking up to the moment to where it actually comes. You know what I mean? To walk in that physical reality with it, right? But then I go outside and I look at everything I see and like, I'm already in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about the fortune. I don't care about the fame. I care about this moment right here, right now, where I'm expressing it with you, because, man, that makes you feel like you can't put a price tag on it, because spirit is just, it's that. The law of attraction is that. It's like, it's the moment, it's the true self. And when you're in that, like I said on the last video, when you're hungry, you're fed. When you're thirsty, you quench. When you're cold, you find warmth. When you're lonely, you have company, right? And it's a blessing, man. It's like, man, I wish I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure out a better way to tell y'all, man, because it's. But in order to be a teacher, you gotta be a good student, And I know that, so I'm constantly just always willing to learn, And like I said, this video right here, it's not a really specific topic, I guess. It's just more just going with the flow, just going with the flow of things. Sometimes you plan things to a T in life because you got goals, right? And when those failures hit, You gotta keep going. You just gotta go with it. Go with the flow. How do you do that, man? You gotta surrender to the moment. You gotta walk by faith, not by sight, right? Just because I can't see the $1 million right now, right in my pocket or my bank account, doesn't mean that I ain't got it, right? Because I don't ever go without, man. When people see your work, when people see people help people, they help people. You know what I'm saying? They help them, or you know, and the opposite side of that, when hurt people, right? So it's one of them things. Like you gotta fight fire with fire, man. You gotta don't waste your tears on the things that ain't good for you, man. Put them to use, right? If all you got right now is your pain, make the most of it, right? That's that internal flame. That's that sacred heart. That's that fuel. That's that fire. That's that phoenix in you, just trying to emerge from hell, right? Just because you're in a bad position, man, don't put yourself down with it. Don't let it keep you down, man. Use it to your benefit. Accept it for what it is. Accept humility. Become humble. Move forward. Take a leap of faith. Walk in faith. Stay there. Stay focused. Like I said before, focus. All that is, man, is the willpower to come back to the moment, right? It's the willpower to, when my mind journeys off to something else, to be able to bring it back to what I was doing in that moment, right? Say I'm drawing, right? And I'm working on something, right? And all of a sudden my mind just takes me off to like, man, I'm not gonna go eat. I'm hungry, right? I gotta know how to bring it back to what I was doing, right? Then all of a sudden it takes off again, and I start thinking about something stupid, you know what I mean? Like something that was kind of upsetting me earlier, right? But I gotta bring it back, focus. And how you bring it back with focus, with willpower, is don't attach to those things. Just let them do its thing. Let them do its course. Let them run freely, because they're just thoughts, right? As a man thinketh, so he liveth. So in that aspect, it's just because you thought it doesn't mean it's gonna manifest. The only time it really manifests is when you start combining it with emotions and attention and focus, and you're kind of clinging to it, right? But come back to the moment. And even if you do cling to it, even if you do those things, right? That's cool, right? Just let it go, right? And when it does manifest, right? Just because you thought something negative or whatever the outcome was, fighting with somebody, whatnot, right? Doesn't necessarily mean to come out in that way. It just means that that energy is presenting that picture. You know, that emotion is presenting those pictures because you have fear factors, you have belief systems that are trying to overpower yourself. But just come back to the moment, let it be, accept it for what it is, right? Surrender it, let it go. But anyway, man, I love y'all, man. I'm enjoying this journey. I'm enjoying these little videos because, like I said, it's helping me out. And I don't know how they're doing for y'all, but I'm gonna keep doing me. So thank y'all for watching the video, and stay blessed, man. Love and light.